In this episode, a year in the automotive calendar has passed and finds us back in all the hustle and bustle of Motorclassica.
It really is the holy grail of car shows and car events here in Melbourne.
The current owner has had it for 60 years.
But we also duck across town with Brian to smoke out some very rare builds indeed. We meet some old friends at the auction and find out what happened to the jet car.
And then it happens to you and you go, I'm pinching myself, I can't believe this.
Last year, in a fit of schoolboy Thunderbirds enthusiasm, we were here and bought a jet car. Now this year we've brought it back here and we're going to try and sell it. Probably lose some money, but it's been a great thing to own.
In the end, we find out that special car ownership is a caretaking role, and that while vehicles live on, ownership is more like a cycle of guardianship. We can't explain it, but the bond between motor vehicles and ourselves can stem back to childhood, like a love affair we never get over. This is the story of 3 years in the automotive calendar and the connection between humankind and its best friend, the motorised vehicle. This series goes out to the source, to you, the people, and some very special collections in Australia and all over the world. Let us reveal some car chronicles.
Tell us about what's happened here, mate. The chrome's looking fantastic. This is stuff you've had done in the US?
Yes.
Okay.
The biggest problem we had was we didn't have the opportunity to change the structure of the chrome in terms of the shape.
Yeah.
So we had to send it to someone that could work with the surface the way it was.
Yeah.
These were quite badly rippled.
Yeah.
So what Brightworks has done is basically built the edges up with copper. You can see how thick it is now.
Yeah.
And then they block these back, and as you can see, they're magnificent.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing is with this car, it's not a car that's being used on a regular basis.
No,
It is
just-
kind
yeah.
of static.
Yeah.
It is a museum piece, and because of that, you know, you can finesse these things a little bit better.
Yeah.
Here we are, Brian, at Motorclassica, one of the biggest events in Australia in terms of car shows. How's it been going for you?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think the combination of this building, the history and the heritage of this building, this is where Australia's first parliament was held.
Here we have an impressive collection of Lamborghini cars. They're here to celebrate 50 years of the marque. This is one of the more familiar models, of course, the Miura, a very beautiful car that was made famous in the opening sequence of the Italian Job with Michael Caine. But this was the car that started it all. Originally the 350 GT, but this is the 400 version, but really avant-garde styling.
Outside here at Motorclassica, we've got some old favourites of mine. 65 T-Bird and a Model A with a 32 Ford grille on it. So in the mid-60s, the space race was on, and the American car industry was taking its styling cues from the jet age.
Tell us, what does it feel like to see this car here today, based on where it was and where it all started?
It makes me physically ill, Brian. Only once in my life will I find an Isotta Fraschini, and only once in my life will I have to pass up owning an Isotta Fraschini. But I also knew I didn't have the wherewithal, the personal expertise or the money to do with it what needs to be done. You dream about these things and occasionally you read about them in those fancy car magazines.
As at every other Motorclassica, the cars on display from all over the world are exceptional, a real showcase for unusual marques. Brian, we've been having a look at a few of the cars around here. What do you like about this show?
Well, I think what I like about this show is pretty much what I like to see at the museum, and that is that people that don't necessarily have to own a car can come out here and be part of it. It goes beyond looking at them in a kind of a book or a magazine, you know, where they can physically be there. Hey George, take a look at that car down there, it's amazing.
I was looking at this car, Brian, and It looks like one of those Lake Como boats that's been turned upside down, had the bottom cut out of it and a couple of seats thrown in it.
I think that's the beauty of classic cars, and the whole idea of what we're doing is that cars represent, they're almost like automotive signposts to that particular era, and you can scan that whole space and just see history in front of you. Come back and see us again because we have lots more for you.
That's right, we've got so much more stuff to show you.